Start off talking about the U.S. Constitution, and I'm wondering what part you feel the Constitution plays in solving these problems down in Washington.
Well, the Constitution, I view it as a limiting document, not a living document. Mm-hmm. For too long, we've looked at the Constitution as perhaps an historical parchment. It is the supreme law of the land when it comes to the federal government. It tells us by prescription, by specific delegation of authority, what the federal government should do. And to the extent it's silent, the federal government shouldn't be doing it. And that's clear in the 10th Amendment that reserves all powers not expressly delegated to the federal government to the states and the people. And so if you look at Part 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, it delimits the specific authority that the federal Congress is supposed to have in terms of what its areas of responsibility are. And there are areas that we've gone into in Washington that we shouldn't have. And I am a past chairman of the State Board of Education here in New Hampshire. The people of Merrimack who were here back in the mid-90s know of my leadership with them. And we were fundamentally believed in what works in classrooms, for example. Good teachers working with motivated students. The bureaucracy of education is choking our quality. And the bureaucracy started, frankly, in the 1970s under the Carter administration when the U.S. Department of Education was enacted and established. And our educational system has not gotten better, Pete, you know that, since the 70s. It's actually gone the other way. The federal government doesn't have a role to play, as far as I'm concerned, in elementary and secondary education in this country. And we ought to reclaim our sovereign right in New Hampshire overseeing elementary and secondary education. As chairman of the State Board of Education, I led our board, and our state was the only one to say no to the federal power grab, the education stimulus money of Goals 2000. We were vilified for that decision, but we were right, Pete. We didn't want to turn over more power and responsibility to the federal government in exchange for a few dollars. It wasn't the federal government's role, and we took a stand of principle. I think people around America, and certainly New Hampshire, are saying enough already with Washington trying to control our lives, trying to get involved with every part of our life, from healthcare, education, to the banking industry and beyond. And we need to go back to the Constitution, constitutional principles, and make sure that what we're doing is constitutional. And what we're not, we need to limit, wind down, and get back to the sovereign nature of this country, which is the state and the people first, federal government in a limited way only.